Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Zoe, and today I wanted to talk about energetic protection and how we can stay grounded in our truth no matter what life throws at us. So I was actually flipping through my old journal and I came across this little message that I got when I was in Joshua Tree a few weeks ago, a month ago, back in April, some time ago. But if you aren't aware of Giant Rock, it is this site in Joshua Tree, and it's this huge boulder. It's actually the largest freestanding boulder, I believe, in the world, definitely in America. And it was actually this huge sacred site for the Native Americans long time ago to go there, and they would all meet there and do ceremony and ritual, and just a really beautiful hub for these tribes. And when you get to the land over there, to begin with, Joshua Tree is just so sacred and beautiful. I could go on about that for a while, but Giant Rock was such a sacred space for me, and I sat with Giant Rock and really just felt in to his energy and really opened my channel to hear what I could learn from Giant Rock. And when I was flipping through my old journal, I came across my little channel message, and it just kind of came through as standing firm, grounded in our truth. You know, very rock energy. So heavily grounded and not letting others affect me. No matter how other people's energy might be thrown at me or chaos is thrown at me, I stay firm and tall in my energy, unaffected by all around me, because I am rock and I am grounded. And it was so moving for me feeling these sensations and sitting with Giant Rock, and just how it's been there for so long, this boulder as well. And I really was just even feeling into it too, because people were vandalizing some of the sides of the rock, and it was really upsetting to see. Just people, you know, vandalizing such a sacred site. However, Giant Rock stood strong and unbothered, knowing that there's so much more energy and embodiment, just unfazed and just standing knowing its truth. And I really wanted to start off this video with that story, because we really should embody rock energy more often. How can we really stay grounded in our truth no matter where life takes us, in what situation we might be in? So in my current journal, I kind of wrote down some key points on kind of what I think would be a nice segue for this video and what works for me. So the first point is about grounding and recentering. So before any practice that you do, if that's like a ritual or even let alone leaving your house for the day, it's really important to stay grounded and recenter yourself. When you are out in a particular environment, maybe a cafe, maybe you're out on the town for a night out, once you walk into a space, before you go about your time there, do a quick little check-in with yourself and just ask yourself, like, where's my center? Where's my root? Find that tether So you know when you're moving through the space, you know where you are. You know where your energy is, and no matter what is thrown at you, you're able to stay in check. Another point off of this is the importance of breath work and deep breaths. Situations happen and they do throw us off course or off our center. It happens. It's a part of life in our growing experiences. But when this happens, sometimes our breath speeds up. Anxiety kicks in. We kind of get into that fight or flight mode. And shallow breathing really does feed into these lower moments. And overall, that just doesn't make the situation any better, because then you're really getting off center. Your mind starts to race. And you don't really know what's going on. And you maybe start making decisions that aren't the most effective or the most aligned with your deeper purpose. So really taking a second to take deep breaths from your diaphragm is really important. And one of the more common breathwork techniques is like the box breathing method, which is 4 in, hold for 4, release for 4. And repeating that, this can even be used for starting a meditation, or even if you just need to remove yourself from a situation just to recollect yourself, it's really good to do. I know sometimes for me, especially if I'm out at like a concert or a rave or a festival, sometimes I get a little ungrounded because there's just so many people around me and so much energy just all over the place. It's hard to, stay grounded in yourself. So sometimes I just find myself going to the bathroom or taking a step outside and just taking some deep breaths and really just collecting myself. And I find I'm able to stay way more grounded in my energy for the remainder of the night when I just take that moment to myself. And I'll get into more about that in another point. But really, honoring how you feel in the moment is super important to stay grounded and recenter. So the second point I wanted to get into is about cleansing the field. This is really good, especially what I do at nighttime before I go to bed. I like to cleanse my bedroom, have my little ritual, and really feel into what works for you. And also I feel like different practices and rituals might work for different points of your life, and you have to evolve and grow with what serves you in that point of your journey. And there's a bunch of different cleansing tools that you can use, such as sage, Palo Santo, sound, salt baths, incense, a bunch of different tools you can use. For me, I mostly use either Palo Santo or sage, and I light it before bed. I don't do this every night because I think you can over cleanse a space to a certain degree. But of course, there's been times where I was cleansing every night because I felt I needed that, so just feel what feels right to you. But, I light either the sage or the Palo Santo, and I like to cleanse it in circular motions. I like to start doing counterclockwise to kind of erase the negative energies. And then towards the end, when I'm kind of calling in energies of the light, my spirit team, and, all that high frequency energy into my space, then I close it with clockwise circles. But again, like I said, it's all about intention at the end of the day. There's really no right or wrong way to cleanse. If you're putting your intention in to cleanse your space, that will serve you as long as your heart is there in the moment. But I feel like this is really important to get in the practice of incorporating into your routine, even if you do it weekly, just because energy does linger in a space. So taking the time to really go into the nooks and crannies. Like when I cleanse my space, I like really be getting up into the corners of my room because that is where energy likes to live dormant. And really like saying out loud that you are like cleansing the space. I like to say, I'm removing any stagnant energies that no longer serve me. But feel for what feels right to you. And also then call back in all of that high vibrational energy at the end. And this is going to lead into our third point, which is activating our inner shield. So all about building our energetic boundaries. So alongside my previous point, mantras and affirmations are super important. And one that I like to say quite frequently, especially before I leave the house, I like to call out, first I ground and recenter myself. And then I call out, I am divinely protected and divinely guided. And that just really puts a positive intention into my day, knowing that how I move through life is going to be aligned with my higher purpose, and knowing that my spirit team and my guides and the universe is on my side. It sets a positive tone for the day. Also, on that note, another mantra that is important, and this is kind of tying back to our previous point, is I call my power back to me. When I cleanse my space at night, usually I do my space and then I end with cleansing myself. And I like to finish it off with, I call my power back to me. And, as you're in the flow, things and mantras kind of come naturally in the moment. So really be open to hearing and feeling what's right for you. But when you go along your day, you really do take on a lot of other people's energy. So it is important to cleanse your vessel and protect that, because your energy is unique to you and it's really important to honor and protect that. It's very sacred. So practicing I call my power back to me is really important. Even if you feel like you're out and about and you've taken on too many people's energy, again, my whole thing, go to the bathroom. Take a second to yourself. I feel like, especially as I've been really progressing in my journey and really aware of the energies around me, when I am out, especially like nightlife wise, I do find myself taking little moments to myself in the bathroom or outside just to recollect myself, and that's okay. Do what works for you, and you should not have any shame in removing yourself from a situation because you feel like you've taken off too many energies. And my next point, we'll get more into that as well, actually. And also with affirmations and mantras, your voice is the perfect medicine for you. We all have a different voice and frequency, and like I said earlier, sound is very healing and cleansing. So when we speak our affirmations, your voice, that vibration, it's so healing. And when you speak your affirmations, really say them with conviction and that you already have it all. Even with your manifestations, when you voice them, you can't say them like, you want to say with the energy like you already have it all and you're ready to receive and you're open. And this just ties also into with affirmations, just spending more time with yourself and having a higher, self-worth and perception of who you are. When you really take the time to do that shadow work and get in the nooks and crannies as well, not even just your actual space, but your inner space, you start to really understand who you are on a deep soul level. And as you understand all parts of yourself, you start to build this natural resistance and this kind of like push back any outside noise or any outside energy, because you know where you stand and you won't let other people's energy wash over you so easily because you're rooted so deep in your purpose, in your essence, and honestly, you just won't really take other people's shit as often. You know what I mean? You'll just have a better idea of the space around you. And that goes into our next point, which is reading the room. So really practicing mindfulness and just situational awareness in general is really important to protecting your energy, because energy does linger in a space. I'm not sure if you ever walked into a space and you just kind of automatically got like a bad vibe. You're like, okay, I don't really know what it is, but the energy's feeling really stagnant in here. It's not really a lot of movement, just bad vibes, you know? That's energy that was left from a previous interaction in the space. So when you go into a space, it's really important to do that little mental check-in that we mentioned previously and really ask yourself, like, how do I feel right now in this space? Like, take that little mental note and then practice what we worked on before, you know, regrounding yourself, doing your breath work, and also just honoring all that you feel, and also being aware of like where you're feeling the energy, like doing that body scan. And obviously I'm saying all this stuff, when you walk into a space, do these check-ins. It doesn't have to be this whole ritual. When you walk into a space, you're like, okay, wait, I need to do my this and this. It's not, it doesn't have to be this whole thing. It's more just bringing your consciousness to, okay, like, where's my center right now? Where's my grounding? How do I feel right now in this space? Just like mental check-ins. It doesn't have to be this whole thing. Unless you want to make it a whole thing. I mean, hey, do what serves you, you know? But really reading the room and observing the energy in the space is super important. And the more you practice this mindfulness and being an observer, so much will be revealed to you. Something that I have also been doing more often is like not wearing my AirPods when I'm on my commute, because I go through phases. Of course, I love to have my AirPods in, blasting a little music, a little like music video mode in my own little world. It's great. But sometimes I enjoy just to take them out and just fully be present in the moment and just like people watch, kind of see like, what are other people up to? And it's really interesting just being an observer and really just owning that. So, you know, like, I'm here right now and I'm just taking it all in, and I'm grateful to be here right now. And I feel like the more I do practice this mindfulness and being fully present in the moment, you start to catch really beautiful moments of just other people's lives, and you're just like, wow, that is just pure love and abundance. And yeah, I'm just so grateful to be in this moment right now and witnessing this beautiful interaction that other people can share in their story, and I'm just here observing. It's beautiful. And my last point for today's video is about intentional consumption. So really sustaining that high frequency on the daily, and all media, food, products, everything holds an energy, and it's really important that we are mindful and aware of what we are consuming, because when we consume that, we are consuming that energy, and that also affects our energetic field. So thinking of the media you consume, inspirational content. Think, what is sustainable for me to consume right now? What is going to benefit me in the long run? And if that's probably not hearing about all the negative in the world. As humans, we aren't built to really take on that much media and news, because, you know, we are, if you really think about it, we are built to be in little communities. We're not built to know the world's news. So when we hear all this stuff happening around the world, of course, we start to feel really disconnected from self and overwhelmed, because we aren't built to know that much. So really try to be mindful of what you're consuming on social media and really try to take content in that benefits you, makes you feel good. Like when you're scrolling through your feed, you know, also don't doom scroll. Like don't be scrolling all day. And if you are, be mindful of that, and also fill your feed with things that make you feel good. If that's inspiring content or a good YouTube video like this one, you know, find a community of people that fuels you. Community is so important. Finding like-minded people, and I see so many more little like niche groups popping up, and it's just so beautiful to see people really building these communities and connecting. You know, it's really important. And then just connecting on with the intentional consumption or food. Eating your greens and your plants and high frequency foods is so important. Personally, in my diet, I guess you could say, I don't eat anything with gums in it anymore. I don't eat processed foods, and I really do see a huge difference since I've really been strict with that. And sometimes I'm like, am I too much right now? Like everything has all this stuff, but I'm like, no, like my body is my vessel, and it's so important that I put in good, nourishing foods that make me feel good, not bad. And, you know, in the past when I've eaten, you know, like fast food, you know, you don't feel good after. In the moment, it's like, oh yeah, this tastes good, but you don't feel, doesn't nourish you the way a really well-made dish feels good. And it doesn't always have to be expensive. You know, people think, you know, all natural foods are expensive, but you can, if there's a will, there's a way. I don't think that it means you have to spend more money. And that even ties into the products that we purchase. Our clothing especially. All of our clothing holds a frequency, the fibers that it is. And of course, natural, organic materials cost more money. However, you know, they do last longer. But just being aware of the materials in your clothing, like polyester is really bad. I've been more mindful of not purchasing any new items with polyester in it, for example, for me and my journey. And just really being aware of what we're putting in our lives, because it all plays a role. Because everything is energy. But that closes my points for today's video, and really just want to take a moment for us to just sit with all of that. Thank you guys for joining me today, and I would love to hear what your favorite protection practices or rituals are in the comments below. And if you liked this content or want to hear more of me, please give it a like and subscribe, because that helps me out. And yeah, I really enjoyed making this video, and there'll be more to come. I hope you all have a wonderful, abundant day. I'm sending you all peace and love. Goodbye.